So when I was young, my sister and I created a map of our neighborhood. Not the streets, but the secret paths that exist in the forest behind and between the houses. It made me feel like we knew something the rest of the world didn't. And we ran up and down these paths, communicating on these janky walkie-talkies and just exploring what was happening. Now that I'm a biologist, I make maps on a different scale. I make maps inside organisms, and I look where microbes are and what they're doing. So here at BTI, I study the interactions that happen underground, where plant roots meet soil fungi. In this relationship, plants give the energy they get from the sun to the fungi that live inside plant cells. In return, the fungus gets the plant's minerals they get from the ground, using their vast network of finger-like hyphae, and in doing so, acts like a natural fertilizer. In my map making here at BTI, I've made not one, but two types of maps. One map was of the plant root itself. With a fungus inside of it, I can see how each space contains their own collection of messages, like tiny forums side by side. For my other map, I chopped up the plant root to get the plant and fungal cells and look at these very same messages from every cell separately, like the survey was sent out to each one. These two maps, overlaid atop each other, provide enhanced resolution like you would find in a brand new computer monitor, or like an episode of CSI. They help me find big differences in parts of the fungus that looked identical to each other. They help me better understand the communication between plants and fungi, as well as communication between the plant cells themselves. And these maps I've created provide important information for future plant fungal explorers. These partnerships, known as arbuscular mycorrhizae, are found in the roots of many plants and many of our crops. Our maps can identify ways to change the plant, or in the future, the fungus, so that we can take advantage of the beneficial interactions that occur all around us. When I now go back to my parents' house, these paths I once mapped are gone. New houses have gone up, trees have been cleared, and nature has covered traces of walkways that we meticulously pruned from briars as children. But now, despite these woods being slightly smaller, I can appreciate them with a different sense of wonder, because each plant has its own map just waiting to be explored. Thank you. Questions?
Great talk. I like the analogy to like mapping with your sister. It's awesome. I guess what I'm curious about is like understanding kind of the messages that the fungi and the plant are communicating in the two species that you're looking at, and like, is that very species specific, those messages, or how would it work in like engineering that to something new and something different to incorporate a new plant or a new fungi?
Yeah. That's a great question. I think it really depends on the species. Some species are a little more cosmopolitan, I would say, and these interactions happen in like 70% of land plants. But there are definitely, different types of plants that can't benefit from this. And so trying to figure out ways that we can engineer plants to accommodate that, or find ways to, figure out ways to keep that fungi and maybe retain it a little bit longer would be, or in less restrictive environments would be useful. Yeah.
The one in the left is it like a spatial transcriptomic?
Yeah. So that's like the size of, well, it's like the size of that. But the roots on the top are just mock. So they don't have anything in them. The roots on the bottom show exactly where the fungi is and what type of fungal structures. They're just colors, but those are the different structures that are
Do we know of ways to promote mycorrhizal growth to benefit, say, crop production?
Yeah, so I mean, that's sort of where actually Laura's stuff comes in too, because they're part of a community in general. And so just ways to promote that soil includes making sure that soil has a good community, that we're not nuking with fertilizers and things like that. Or what? Or tilling, right? Yeah. So it can be difficult. This interaction sometimes only happens when there's a need for the nutrients driving from the fungus to the plant. And if that's need's not there, then it's not going to happen.